Hey guys, Dr. Whitney Bowe here. In this video, I'm going to tell you what not to do after your Botox injections. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a board certified dermatologist based in New York. You might recognize me from appearances on Good Morning America, and I'm the author of the best-selling book, The Beauty of Dirty Skin. If you enjoy this type of content about procedures, anatomy, taking a holistic approach to the skin, including diet, exercise, sleep, then subscribe over here. So you finally got up the guts, you go and you get Botox, or maybe you get Dysport, or maybe you get Xeomin. They're all different forms of botulinum toxin. What do you want to do after the procedure, and what do you not want to do after that procedure? I always tell my patients, no downward dog, no nap, no facial for 4 hours after the procedure. So let's break that down. So what's the biggest risk after Botox? We don't want an eyelid ptosis, meaning we don't want your eyelid to droop. It is a rare but reported side effect. What increases that risk? If you massage the area, say you go and you get a facial, or you decide to do some gua sha in that area right after your treatment, or if you decide to take a nap and you face plant into your pillow, or if you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hit yoga and really take care of myself today. Today's a self-care day, Botox, yoga, and then you start to just hang out in a downward dog and you're hanging upside down for long periods of time. All of those things can increase your risk for getting an eyelid droop or an eyelid ptosis. So those are no's. Now you might notice that you have some mosquito bites in the areas that were injected. If you ever have a mirror and you hold it up right after you get the injections, sometimes it can look like there's little blebs right where you had your injections. That's okay. It actually means that that injector placed that product very superficially and for a good reason. Sometimes that's actually where you want to go to get the best effect in that area. But you want to resist that urge to sort of press those mosquito bites down. And you don't want to massage them down either. If you just leave them alone, they will be gone in about 10 to 15 minutes by the time you check out and you're back in your car, no mosquito bites. What about icing after Botox? So interestingly, icing is okay before Botox or Dysport. It sort of gives you that anesthetic effect, right? So maybe you don't feel the pinches of the needles as much if you ice before. But you never want to ice after Botox or Dysport. Why? Studies show that decreased temperatures can actually decrease the uptake and the longevity of your botulinum toxin treatments. What does that mean? It means less bang for your buck. It's not going to work as well. It's not going to last as long. What about drinking alcohol after Botox? You're like, oh, that was nerve-wracking. I did it. I want to have a glass of wine and celebrate the fact that I finally got up the nerve to have my Botox injections done. So alcohol does a few things, but one of them is that it actually reduces your body's platelet production, and it makes the platelets that you have less sticky. What does that mean? It means that it sort of negatively impacts the clotting cascade. So if you're starting to develop a little bruise, sometimes that can happen. Sometimes the injector hits a little baby blood vessel that maybe they didn't see, and you're starting to develop a little bruise. If you have a glass of wine, you might see that bruise expand, get bigger, okay? Now, for the most part, Botox injections, when I inject Botox, I'm using a 31 gauge needle. It's tiny, tiny, tiny. So the chances of bruising it's very low. And if you do bruise, that bruise should be really, really small, really tiny. So, if you have a glass of wine and the bruise goes from being the size of a pencil point to maybe the size of, a marker, a Sharpie that's got a little bit of a fine point to it, a millimeter too bigger, it's not the end of the world, and you can use concealer over it as well, but drink at your own risk. And last, what about applying makeup after your Botox injection? So I always say wait about half an hour. You want the skin to what we call re-epithelialize, meaning you want that upper layer of skin cells to basically start coming together and meeting in the process of wound healing. Right now you've got a little bit of an open wound, so you don't want to put anything on there, that shouldn't get in there. Maybe something that is contaminated with a bacteria or a fungus, or, maybe it's just an ingredient that you don't want penetrating into your bloodstream. Could it be a hormonal disruptor, something you just don't want in your body? So, in my opinion, wait about 30 minutes or so, and then you can feel comfortable applying makeup. But you want to be applying in upward strokes, especially in what we call the glabellar region, because in this area, this is where if you're pressing down, you can be pushing that product into that muscle that can cause the eyelid droop. All right, guys, if you found that content helpful, be sure to subscribe, share this video with friends, and comment below with any other questions or topics that you want me to cover. Well, thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. If you have questions, put them below, and be sure to click this button over here to subscribe. All right, stay healthy, guys.